I'm spending money like I just got paid. $100 bills, tell them keep the change. Come on. Pop a bottle, about to make it rain. Let me give you something now to celebrate. Come on. And if you're wondering why I move the way I do, I just feel so good, good, good. Oh, I just feel so good, good, good. Oh, I just feel so good, good, good. Oh, I just feel so good, good, good. I just feel so good.
So one of my goals a couple years ago was to get into fighting. So I trained Muay Thai for about a year, and I wanted to challenge myself to get with guys who actually fight. It was a lot harder than I thought it would be. I'm still learning. I'm enjoying the journey though. And through that process, I met a guy named Austen Lane, very laid back, humble guy, willing to teach. And I would love for you guys to hear about his story.
Oh man, yo, I feel like the champion. Oh man, yo, I feel like the champion. Oh man, yo, I feel like the champion.
What I was saying is that, so we have people that are just starting out, like Sam, and then we have people that are, training for world-class fights, like Austin, and everything in between, So when you start to talk about, how good is somebody doing, it's like, well, how good are they doing based upon the level of where they're at? Well, just showing up means that they're doing pretty good, especially in the company.
What made you get into fighting?
So I grew up playing sports. As a kid, football was the biggest one. I took that as far as I could. Spent 5 years in the NFL. Well, going into my first year in Jacksonville, I took it upon my defensive line coach gave me the advice to go to a boxing gym to improve my hand speed because I play defensive line, and there's a direct correlation between hand speed and being a good pass rusher. So I asked a friend in town named Alex Ferguson. He put me in touch with Matt, and then and obviously Matt's still my coach to this day, but I went to the gym and started doing boxing stuff. And when I say I started doing boxing stuff, it was really basic stuff. I think the first day with Matt, he had me just throw jabs on air for 2 hours pop, and it was one of those things where I was like, man, I'm not really getting anything out of this, but I kept on going because there was something there. And then, probably the first weekend I was doing bag work, I was hitting the mitts. Well, it was an MMA gym. So then there were guys doing jiu-jitsu as well, and that looked kind of fun. So then I got with jiu-jitsu and I started doing that, and I realized doing jiu-jitsu was good for my hips, and hips are good in football as well. So it was just kind of a gradual progression. And granted, I've been playing football at the time as well, so I couldn't just, drop what I was doing and do completely with MMA, but every once in a while during the off season, I'd go train with Matt or I'd go train jiu-jitsu, and just kind of correlated from there. My drive, it's something that was instilled in me as a child. I come from a blue-collar family that taught me the value of hard work. And with MMA, I get a chance to show that off. I don't have to do MMA. I made a pretty good living in football. MMA to me is more than just fame, it's more than money, it's more than going on social media and bragging about what you did maybe the night before. To me, MMA is the ultimate art form. It's the form of self-expression where I don't need to do it. I don't have to do MMA, but I need to do it because it completes a part of me. I feel like without MMA, I'd be lost. What's so attractive with MMA is the fact that there is that brotherhood, there is that bond. Yes, at the end of the day, when you step in that cage, it's just you, but you also have your teammates, you have your coaches there. So kind of having that brotherhood, that camaraderie that I had in football, it's something I've been experiencing my entire life. So that's just some of the reasons why I love MMA. Yeah, so I've shared this story before, but what's gotten me to the point where I'm at now, or the point in the NFL, is literally the span of a couple people that saw the light in me before I saw it myself. For example, when I was in college, I went to a small school, Murray State University. And, it was kind of off the radar. I wasn't getting a lot of recruits from the NFL and things like that. Well, going into my junior year, my defensive line coach sat me down and basically said, "You're underachieving." And he said, "If you listen to me and if you follow me, we can get you to the NFL." And that was a coach that I had a lot of respect for, so I took what he said to heart and I listened to him, and he was right. And he saw my potential before I saw it in myself. Matt told me and said, "Hey, I just want to let you know, I'm not sure what your plans are after football, but he said you have the potential to be at the highest sport, at the highest level in the UFC, if you work hard, obviously, and do what's right." And I took that to heart too, because I never had anybody show me the way. I didn't grow up with MMA as a kid. I watched it, but nobody really showed me the way of how to get to the UFC, how to be a professional fighter. So the fact that Matt saw the potential, I guess, before I saw it in myself, it speaks volumes of what kind of person he is. And literally, yes, I've had the support system. I've had the people believe in me. I've had a great family believe in me. But I've also had special people see potential in me before I saw it in myself. I did football for everybody because that's what I always done, and I felt like MMA was me branching out and doing it for myself. But then I realized that, like football, there's a lot of people that look up to me. There's a lot of people that are supporting me, and I'm not in this sport alone of MMA, So I have a son now, Ronan, he's 4 years old. I have a wife. I do it for them. I do it for my son to prove that, listen, I've been on the highest of highs in the sport, and I've been on the lowest of lows in the sport. And lowest of lows, 10 times lower than football. I've seen it all so far. I've won and I've lost. And if anything, I'm trying to prove to my son that you can accomplish anything you want to accomplish in this world. But you got to put hard work in front of it, and it's sometimes not going to always go your way. But I think the great sport of MMA, man, it teaches you that it's not necessarily what happens to you, it's how you respond to it. Whether it's sparring, whether it's losing in the cage, whether it's just having a rough day at home. It's about how you respond. So I do it for my family, I do it for my friends, I do it for the town that I grew up in, Wisconsin. I do it for the city, Jacksonville now. Man, where do I see myself in 10 years from now? That's a great question. I have no idea. I'm one of those guys that I basically just put my head down every day and focus on the present. Not to say I don't have goals in the future. At the end of the day, the goal is the UFC. The goal is the heavyweight championship, because if you don't have those goals in mind, it makes no sense why you even do the sport in the first place. So those are the two goals that stick out to me, but obviously just being a great father, being a great husband, being a great friend. But besides that, man, 10 years ahead is way too far to me to think about. Yeah, so if you're looking to find me, I'm on Twitter, A_train_92, or you can just easily type in my name, Austen, Austen, Lane, Lane. I'm on Facebook, Austen Lane. I got a fan page, same thing, Austen Lane MMA. And then I have another page too dedicated to my other job, which is ESPN 690 Radio. 5 times a week I go on a show and I talk sports. Pretty easy gig.
Okay. So we're gonna be a little bit aggressive because I'm from Brooklyn. So let's just stay out of his lane, all right? Stay out of my boy lane. You don't want to get taken down. No, I'm just joking.
All good, man.
All right, man. Yo, it's good talking.
Cool, dude. Awesome.
Dang.
Awesome. Thank you. That was great.
It depends on what your goals are. If you want to learn just ties, then do exactly how they're saying. If you want to do other shit, but use your tie as a base or whatever it is, then you have that style.